Hi YouTubers! Now today I want to show you how I'm going to make my hatchets out of a hammer like this one was. It costed about $6 in the Home Depot, and what I did was cut off the back piece here, the shovel piece or chisel piece, which I don't need, and ground in or milled in here a tiny slot, a little bit of an angle, so I already have my taper a little bit more. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to forge the eye to a nice oval shape. I have a nice drift made myself, which is here. This is my drift for these pieces, and try to drift them completely up to here, so to get a real nice eye shape, as you can see. And then I'm going to forge out the hammer piece, harden it, grind it, sharpen it, and it gets a nice axe. And in the end it should look about like this, and the only difference is I want to get this piece a little bit more down here, a little bit more of a curve, of an S curve here, to get very close to the shape of the Francisca axe, which is a very nice piece, and I try to make very authentic and nice, awesome Francisca axe out of these pieces. And as you can already hear, the crank is forging up, the forge is cranking up, and I'm also going to try out the new hammer I made. Hope it gets nice and hope it works pretty good. I think I'm going to forge a little bit faster with it because the weight is a little bit heavier, but we will see. Well, now that's it for forging. Next piece is already in the oven and heating up, and making 3 pieces at once. And then we're going to go to the grinder and refine the shape, grind a nice S curve in here, cut a lot of stuff off which is too much. Okay, now the file test. Properly heat treated. So, next thing we're gonna do is clean it up in the front a little bit with the flap wheel. Simple and easy, just quick, not too far back because I wanted the forge marks to stay in there. And then we're gonna temper the whole piece, the front. Well. Now, all 3 axe heads are pretty much finished. They're pretty good right now. Now I got with a wire wheel over this surface, and in the back side I'll leave the scale, the forging scale, and yeah, sharpened them a little bit, just roughly. What I'm going to do with a 120 grit to 40 grit, 400 grit, the edge, to make it razor sharp, and then buff it a little bit on the buffing wheel. In the end I'm going to oil up the whole head so it won't rust anymore. And what I also did was opening up the eye of the axe a little bit, so we got a nice cone shape but not too much. And we got a nice big eye hole in all 3 axes. I did that with a die grinder with a tungsten carbide bit. Works very awesome. And yeah, now the trademark also wants onto the pieces, so I think I'm gonna stamp them on the downside here. It's very awesome to stamp them on the underside, because simply you normally don't see it, but if you turn it around you will see the nice stamp. Yeah, and all three pieces are pretty much similar, I have to say. They really worked out very well. And next thing we're gonna do is making the handles. Now the handles I'm gonna make from ash wood. It's like hickory. It's one of the best European, or it's the best European wood handle material you can get. You Americans would use hickory. We're using ash wood. And cut it out, so painted the eye hole on one of the pieces, and as you saw, I cut it out from here with a slight curve, so it will taper bigger, so the axe head will shrink onto here, like this, shrink onto here. And now I'm gonna cut all the pieces with my bandsaw. Then I'm gonna start refining them on a belt sander a little bit. Okay, and now what I did next, polish up the handle a little bit to 120 grit, and also refined the shape a little bit. So this is before and this is after. And as you can see, it's an oval, slightly drop shape, so you always can feel where your front edge is. That's the main important at an axe. And this will get Francisca throwing handles, as you can see. And I already fitted this head to this stem, so I just need to hammer them together again. Just refine it a little bit more, and I need to hammer it together again, put the wedge in, glue it in, and then we're ready to go. And as you see, it's perfectly aligned with the axe. And oh yeah, what I need to do is to deburr the axe heads and give them a nice grind, and push my trademark in, and sharpening we do in the end. Now first of all, as I said, deburring this here, then I'm going to show you how I knock it together and push the wedge in. Okay, well now the handle is finished. I ground it up here to 40 grit. The rest of the handle I'm going to grind when the axe is finished or complete. And I made this nice wooden wedge. It's got a nice distal taper to an almost point to a 0.5 millimeter edge, and it fits in like this, but here it is a little bit wider. That's so it fills the gap of the head. And in the end we're gonna make a ring wedge in, compressed ring wedge like this is. Got a slightly oval shape. It was round, but it got pressed together, not by me, but a company I bought it. And this is for spreading in every direction. That's very nice and holds up pretty securely. Okay, but first of all, we're gonna oil up here a little bit and then glue the wedge in. Take the head, push it up here. Okay, well now it's latched up completely, and now I'm going to put in wedge and some wood glue. I think that's the most nice way to pound in a wedge, because the hammer has a flat surface, and so you always hit the whole wedge and drift it in pretty good, and drive it in pretty good. Perfect. Now I'm going to cut it off with my bandsaw, and then we punch in the oval wedge, metal wedge. Okay, now that I cut it off and ground it a little bit to a hollow shape, I'm going to cut with a knife, with a sharp knife. I'm going to cut off the edge, the burr of the wood, to make it nice and beautiful. And now the metal wedge in the end. And I need a ball peen, or I need a hollow hammer. To get the metal wedge perfectly sink into the wood, as you can see. It's perfectly in there. And now I'm gonna sand the handle with a 240 grit again, and then we're gonna oil up the piece, and the whole thing is finished. Okay, now we're gonna oil up the handle. I'm taking Ballistol, new Ballistol home oil, would say it's called. It smells like peppermint, has a real nice smell to it, and it brings out the grain of the wood very good. Yeah, okay, now first piece is finished, and the other two are gonna get pretty much very the same. And one of these axes costs about 200 to 240 bucks. It always depends also a little bit on the head size and on the stem or handle size. The longer the handle gets a little bit more expensive because it's always a little bit more work. And the shape of the handle also, if you want a real nice X shape with this flare down here and a nice hold up grip, then it's a little bit more expensive because it gets a little bit more work than this one. This one is really made for throwing. You can work with it too, but it could, or you can get the feeling to get it slipped out of your hand, so you always need to hold it a little bit up like this. Do not hold it down here, because if it slips, it's gone, because there is no flare at all. And that's for throwing normally, and for throwing it works very well. Now we're going to try how it flies. Okay, now I hope you liked this video. Please give me a thumbs up, share with your friends, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. Leave me any comment if you have a question, and thanks for watching.